الحمد لله الذي خلق السماوات والأرض وجعل الظلمات والنور ثم الذين كفروا بربهم يعدلون. الحمد لله الذي أنزل على عبده الكتاب ولم يجعل له عوجا. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله لقد جاءت رسل ربنا بالحق. Now, okay, so now we're in lesson 6 of this book, inshallah ta'ala, and alhamdulillah, brother Abdul Khabir, he read for us the last 2 weeks, and our brother Ghazi, inshallah, will do the reading this week. Abdul Khabir, where did we stop? Okay. Okay, the verse. Nah, 1 minute. Oh, okay, no. The reading is still on you this week, Abdul Khabir. Still on you this week. But Ghazi is with us. Now you can begin, inshallah. Now, yeah, before we go into the ayat, this introduction to what the Shaykh is explaining about the Asma wa Sifat is very important. And it's very, very simple. And many times, rhetoric makes falsehood or foolishness seem alluring. Don't be fooled. Don't be fooled by drawn out speech. Don't be fooled by the twisting of the tongues of people. As the Prophet ﷺ said, Inna min al-bayan la-sihr. He said, some types of bayan, which is to speak in a clear, eloquent way, is like magic. So don't be fooled by the verbal magicians who take something very minute and extend it and stretch it out to make it very, very intense when it doesn't even deserve that much attention. If we look at the companions, they did not struggle with this issue of asma wa sifat. It was only those people that came after them who began delving into that and causing trouble for the tabi'een and the tabi'een. The they didn't have any trouble with the asma wa sifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because, and we, sometimes it's attributed because of the Arabic language and the ways to understand in Arabic. But I'm going to tell you across the board in any language. Because the issue is in following and not innovating. The issue is in saying what those who said before us said. Because the issue is in confirming what those who came before us said. So it's not an issue of intellect or academics. The issue is an issue of listening and following the tradition and the path and the ways of understanding and confirmation and negation of those who came before us. That's the reality. So, as our honorable brother Hafidhullah Ta'ala just read, he said, having firm faith in Allah's description of himself. And that is built upon, along with the second part. He said, having, number one, having firm faith in Allah's description of himself, as well as the Messenger's description of Allah. To believe in these descriptions in a literal manner that befits the majesty of Allah, not claiming their meanings are figurative. Right? It is known that no one is more knowledgeable about the descriptions of Allah than Allah, then His Messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then His Messenger. So, this point, and we've gone on this in other classes, at this point, the foundation is based on, number one, ishtiraq. في اسم الصفة لا يستلزم اشتراك في معنى الصفة أو في حقيقة الصفة عفوا في حقيقة الصفة. So sharing the name of an attribute does not obligate the sharing of the reality of that attribute. One principle demolishes the whole issue of Asma wa Sifat and the confusion that the people of innovation have, like the Mu'tazila, the Jahmiyyah, the Habashis, and all of these individuals, the Asha'ira. They have this issue because they cannot comprehend, they cannot fathom this simple principle. اشتراك في اسم الصفة لا يستلزم اشتراك في حقيقة الصفة. That sharing the name of a quality does not necessitate sharing the reality of that quality. And the examples are endless. We have faces. Clocks have faces. We say the face of the earth. We use the description face. We attribute face to all of these things while never, ever imagining that is a resemblance between any of them. So if this is the case with things that are created, then how about the contrast that must exist between the creation and the creator? If we know in our everyday lives that so many created things, beings, and inanimate objects have descriptions that share the same name without bearing any resemblance, the issue of thinking of something having a description, the name of the same description of Allah, resembling Allah, is so far-fetched and ridiculous, it doesn't even make sense. Face the hands on a clock. We have hands. The legs of a chair. We have legs. We say these, we use these terminologies all day, every day, without fathoming that there is any resemblance between the two things that share the name of that description. We know that they don't share the reality of this description. So, point one, to end all arguments, is knowing the fact that sharing the name of a description does not mean sharing the reality, the same reality of that description. Point two, many scholars are of the opinion that there is no such thing as figurative speech, that all speech is literal, and that words do not dictate the meaning of the sentence. Rather, it is the sentence that the word is used in that gives the word context. I'll say that again. Many scholars are of the opinion that figurative speech doesn't even exist, because words do not dictate the meaning of the sentence. Rather, it is the sentence that gives the word that is, but when the word is put in the sentence, it is the sentence that gives the word context. Say it again. Many scholars of the opinion that figurative speech doesn't even exist because words do not dictate the meaning of a sentence. Rather, it is the sentence that the word is placed in that gives the word context. Very important point. In order for us to embrace figurative and literal speech, we would have to come to the conclusion that every single word has one specific meaning, and any use for that word outside of that specific meaning has to be figurative. Has one literal meaning. Every word has one specific literal meaning. And anytime that word is not used for that one literal meaning, then every other usage of that word becomes figurative. Let's go into an example of this. Head. Is head specifically for the uppermost part of the human body and everything that comes with it, from two eyes and two ears and a nose and a mouth and whatever it takes to describe the head? Is it that part, the highest part of the human body? Or is it safer to say the head is the top or beginning or forefront of everything? Because if we restricted the head to being that which is the uppermost part of the human body, then if it was used for animals, we'll make it figurative. Okay, include the animals in it. Then if it was used for insects, it will make it figurative. Okay, include the insects in it. Then if it was used for sea life, it will be figurative. Okay, include the sea life in it. So then at that point, anything else the head was used for will be figurative. But when they say put your name at the head of your paper, right at the heading, right? The head of your pen, meaning the tip of your pen. Is it literally the tip of my pen, meaning the head of the pen? Is it a synonym, or is it the same word? Or is it that I'm figuratively, is it a figurative expression when I say the head of the pen, the head of the paper, head of the class? So, or is it literally the head, the top of the paper, the head, the tip of the pen? Is it literal? When I say, for instance, he was like a lion on the battlefield. A lion. He was like a lion on the battlefield. So when I say that, is that figuratively speaking? And someone can say to me sarcastically, how can he be like a lion? He wasn't on all fours. He wasn't roaring and like that. Or is it literal, because I wasn't talking about the way he looked. I was talking about his courage. So in that case, I'm literally comparing him to a lion and how courageous he behaved with the same courageousness of a lion. So now it's not figurative. I'm actually literally saying he was like a lion in his mannerisms, and so forth and so on. So these 2 points here are enough, but I'll add a third. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, هو الأول والآخر, as he said about himself in Surah Hadid and other surahs. He is the first and the last. There's nothing before him, nothing will be after him, subhanahu. كل من عليها فان ويبقى وجه ربك ذا الجلال والإكرام. Everything will dissipate, everything will die, everything will be demolished, and he, subhanahu wa ta'ala, will remain. The face of your Lord will remain, everything else will be demolished. So, if we really understand that Allah Ta'ala is azaliyya abadiyya, like Imam al-Tahawi mentioned in this Aqid. نزل في صفاته أزلية. He will always be, he always was with his descriptions, and he will always be with his descriptions. And he said, ليس بعد خلق الخلق استفاد اسم الخالق. It is not after he created the creation that he deserves to be called a creator. Talked about this before. Allah didn't deserve to be called the creator until after that. He is not like his creation. If we want to have a description, we have to prove that we deserve that description. A person who has not done any plumbing work, I don't care if he has all of the tools, he is not deserving to be described as a plumber. A person who has never done any carpentry work, I don't care if he bought all of the wood in the forest and he has all of the tools, he does not become called a carpenter until after he does carpentry, and so forth and so on. As for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he deserved all of his names and attributes, even if he never did the actions that relate to those. So if Allah never created anything, he's Al-Khaliq, he's the creator. If he never caused anything to die, he's still Al-Mumeet, the cause of death. If he never brought anything to life, he's still Al-Muhyi, the giver of life. ليس بعد الخلق استفاد اسم الخالق. It's not after he created the creation he deserved to be called the creator. He always deserves his attributes because he always has the ability. He's never without ability, subhanahu. That's why we say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-aliyyil azim. We say there's no might, power, strength except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He always has the might, power, strength to do whatever he wants, subhanahu. So it's not after he does those things he deserves. Allah's al-qawi. He is the strong, even if we didn't see him exact his strength out of his creation, and so forth and so on. So when we know that about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it means that every sifa that Ahlul Bid'ah has a problem with us saying about Allah, if they were really intelligent, and if they really understood the crime of resemblance as they want to understand it, they would not tell us that we can't say Allah has a face and a hand and robes, because Allah did those things before he created things that did those things. So now they would have to say we cannot describe ourselves with those actions because those are things that Allah does. So you cannot make a sabiq yushbihu lahiq, that the one who preceded does not resemble the one who came after, the one who succeeded. The one who preceded doesn't resemble the one who succeeded. It's not proper to say, you look just like your son. You tell a man he looks like your son. You tell a woman you look like your daughter. No, you say it the other way around. Your son looks like you because the father came first. Your daughter looks like you. So if we want to deny these sifat from Allah, the yad, he always had these descriptions. It wasn't after he created the beings that had those descriptions, also that he had those descriptions. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always had those descriptions, and for him in creation to have those same descriptions, you cannot negate them from Allah. You would say you can't say, just like we say about those things that are totally specific to Allah, like giving life, causing death, like arranging the affairs. It is not permissible to attribute those actions to other than Allah. You will be making them partners with Allah in his rububiyyah. So whatever is exclusive from Allah, the actions. أَلَمْ تَرَى إِلَى الَّذِي حَاجَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ فِي رَبِّهِ أَنْ آتَاهُ اللَّهُ الْمُلْكَ. Did you not see the one who disputed with Ibrahim concerning his Lord because Allah had given him a kingdom? إِذْ قَالَ إِبْرَاهِيمُ رَبِّيَ الَّذِي يُحْيِي وَيُمِيتُ. When Ibrahim said, my Lord is the one who gives life and causes death. قَالَ أَنَا أُحْيِي وَأُمِيتُ. And he was a liar when he said, I give life and cause death. He's a liar when he said it. قال إبراهيم إن الله يأتي بالشمس من المشرق فأتي بها من المغرب وبهت الذي كفر. Wallahu la yahdi qawm al-zalimin. So then Ibrahim said, well, Allah causes the sun to rise from the east, you make it rise from the west. So he was humiliated. So we do not allow anyone to have descriptions that are specific to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if that's the case, just like we do with rububiyyah, just like we do with uluhiyyah, we don't, if someone worships other than Allah, we don't say, oh, you can't worship Allah because something else is being worshipped at the same time and you're making that thing resemble Allah. We say, well, you can't worship that thing. When we see somebody claiming that somebody knows the unseen other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we don't say, oh, we can't say Allah knows the unseen anymore because somebody else is claiming to know the unseen. We say, no, that person cannot be, it cannot be said that he knows the unseen. So likewise, if their argument in that case was true, we wouldn't say, we can't say Allah has a face and hands and he rises and he descends because his creation does that. We would have to say, no, we can no longer say we rise, descend, have hands and a face and other than that, if they wanted to use that logic the proper way. So these points right here are very simple in demolishing this futile argument that came by way of the books of Greece and Rome being translated, philosophy being translated, the books of Confucius, who caused confusion, and other than him. When those books began getting translated into the Arabic language and the Muslims began studying philosophy, this is when the straying concerning the names of the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took place. Now, so these are very important points to understand. Now, Abdul Khabir, tafaddal. Now, so these are clear, conclusive evidences of these points of at-tawheed. And without this, nothing that follows is going to matter. Without this, nothing that follows is going to matter. So when this tawheed is established in a manner that it appears in our dealings and in our actions, not just in claims in our belief, at that point, we see the importance and the benefits of tawheed. But if this tawheed is not embodied, it becomes a part of our actions, then at that point it's simply academics. It's simply academics, So, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the correct understanding, beneficial knowledge with the correct understanding, so that what? So that we are able to transfer this information into our interactions with our families, our interactions, number one, between ourselves and our Lord. Then the way we deal with the closest people to us, family and then neighbors and other than that. So this is what the point of those three aspects of Tawheed is, and this is why it's at the forefront, because there will never be a society that will be upright without that being their foundation. Because without that being their foundation, they pick and choose from revelation, or they refuse to choose revelation at all. And that's what we wanted to, discuss for today. Are there any questions about anything that was said? If so, I'll take those questions. If not, this is the end of the class, inshallah. Okay. So next week, inshallah, we'll go over admonition. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.